We all make
choices. But in the end,
our choices make us.
So choose wisely. Subscribe to It's Erik Nagel
wherever podcasts are found. And leave a positive review, won't you kindly?
It's Erik Nagel. And it starts now.
What up, my Nagel? 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 Talking about George R.R. Martin, not writing. Talking Marvel vs. DC, who's more exciting? Talking George Lucas's legacy, high-scoring centipede. Talking Gittles' new beef burrito recipe. Talking about Stephanie McMahon versus Sable. Talking about the Cybermen versus the Weeping Angels. Don't blink, the dialect's more deadly than you think. Talking summer ale, blueberry pale, craft beer, pouring drinks. What up, my Nagel? Deadpool 2 features Cable. Talking Funko Pop, celebrity signed a label. Talking online gaming, bitching and complaining. Talking E-Rock, kissing the feet of Matt Groening. Warner Brothers properties, Superman's a mockery. Weird Al concerts, Kevin Smith's debauchery. Rick and Morty fun zone. The Lego build team, can I have your attention? Possible Donkey Kong kill screen. What up, my Nagel? What up, my Nagel? What up, my Nagel? What up, my Nagel?
Ladies and gentlemen of the universe, the next voice you hear.
It's Erik Nagel.
Welcome to It's Erik Nagel, special edition of the show, where we're talking to a longtime friend. I've known you at least 10 years.
It's 10 years. This last December was 10 years.
Well, that is very creepy that you're that accurate.
Well, it's one of the more seminal parts of my life. Like, that part of my life is the reason, one of the many reasons why I'm here right now or doing the stupid shit that I do.
Some could say that that's not a good thing.
Many people. Mostly the people that hired me.
Right. Oh, that's horrible. Talking to our longtime buddy, Matt Ryan. He is, what is your official title? Owner?
Executive producer of Capital Wrestling. Okay. And Stephanie Sottile, one of the great members of our roster, our staff, a writer on the show. We actually we allow our talent to write and produce their own promos, create their own kind of content.
You've also directed a few.
Yes, you've directed.
As well.
Yes, you are a 5-tool player. And you like to let me know it.
Well, thank you for introducing her. I hadn't gotten to her
I
yet,
know.
but we're there now. So Matt and Stephanie are here.
He gets worried.
And now they're in your face.
Yes.
Both from Capital Wrestling. You guys have been around how long? A couple years now?
1 year. Our 1 year anniversary show was back in March.
But the concept of this goes back even further, right?
Me and Marcus Dowling, the guy that created Capital Wrestling with me, we were pitching this idea for about 3 to 4 years. I've been in pro wrestling almost as long as I've known you. I started in college doing a wrestling radio show, a very terrible college radio show, and I started doing announcing gigs, working for smaller companies in the area, and I just started knowing people and meeting people through a podcast here, stuff there. And Marcus and I, he was a manager in the DC area. He's a music writer, a leader in the cultural community in DC. And I was a fat wrestling manager, and we would just talk. I was at NYU at the time. I remember when we came up with the initial concept, because the concept changed a few times over the years. We originally wanted to run in DC, but you can't run in DC because of the athletic commission. It is outside of New York. It may be the worst athletic commission in the United States for professional wrestling, because of the licensing fees, because of all the other extemporaneous things that you need to run a wrestling show there.
Right.
So we kind of came up with this idea. We wanted to run like the 930 Club. We wanted to do this cool postmodern wrestling show. But then one day I was sitting at work at my day job, and I was watching old territorial wrestling because I had nothing to do. It was like right around the holidays. My department said, fuck it, we're just going to sit around and do nothing. And in between looking up historical facts for a centennial project for the company I worked for at the time, I watched this weird territorial show. I think it was from Tennessee. I don't remember what town specifically, but I sent it to Marcus. I was like, this is what Capital Wrestling should be, because we had the name from the jump, because he's from DC, I'm from New York. That was the name of the old New York territory. It's called Capital Wrestling. And we were like, yeah, this is what we want to do. And then we started talking about it. I'm a manager, Matthew Ryan Shapiro. I sell my own merch. I'm on Pro Wrestling Tees. Buy a shirt, feed my family. That's me and my dog.
Feed your dog.
Feed my dog. And I had Susie Q, who's a wonderful artist based out of Queens. She designed T-shirts for me. She designed a couple of my holiday-themed shirts, a bunch of shit for me. And I was like, hey, can you come up with this logo? And like 2 days later, we had the first Capitol Wrestling logo. And it was by far one of the best. It's one of the best logos, I think, in wrestling, in sports entertainment. It's classic. It's clean. It fits everything that we want to represent.
It's almost like a hockey logo.
Yeah.
And it feels very old school.
That's exactly that. We're classic wrestling for the modern
Feels very
fan.
70s, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were going for. We thought the cool, sleek metal logos and a lot of the minimalist stuff that other companies are doing now, that's great for them. It doesn't fit our vision. It doesn't fit what we're doing. We're carny, old school, bullshit ass wrestling. RASSLIN. That's what we were doing. And then from there, we just kind of worked out the initial concept. We tried to figure out where we wanted to go. We decided in northern New Jersey because you can't run in New York without insurance, a license from the State Athletic Commission, an ambulance, and a doctor. The ambulance and the doctor will set you back $3,000 before you book a building or a talent. So I can run shows off of the amount of money I would need to be able to run a show in my own hometown. And I had connections to Hudson County, northern New Jersey anyway. I'd been working in and around there. Steph's from there, so I
live there.
You live there.
Don't spread that rumor
All right,
from New Jersey.
All right, would you rather me say you're from Florida?
You know what? Good point.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah, it's Jersey or Florida.
It's really...
Or Long Island. You've got 3 terrible fucking choices. Choose wisely. So don't give me shit.
It's 6 of one, rotten eggs, half a dozen of the other.
Exactly.
I lived in all 3.
Yeah, I know. Are you a sterling member of either of those communities?
Unfortunately, yes.
Ugh. This is why we need to move. But we worked out the concept, and then we started, booking talent and trying to figure out how the fuck are we going to do this thing? Because we wanted to do a TV show. That was the idea from the beginning. When we started this version of Capitol, was we want to do a television product. We want to do weekly episodic television, and we just kind of built a staff. People contacted me, contacted Marcus, wanted to get involved. And if you watch our stuff on YouTube, you can watch our show on Twitch, on YouTube, Facebook Live. We're on cable television in Minneapolis. We're on in Waukegan. When we're taping the show, we're on Thursday nights at 10:30, I want to say, in Waukegan, like suburban Chicago.
Right. Thank you for doing that long stretch of talk.
I'm going to get some water.
As my mic stand has broken, and I was trying to get all that done.
Expert.
So you're in the wrestling business.
Yes!
Huh? Wow. I missed the last 20 minutes. So no, you had been working on this for a while. You had the concept. Finally got the means to make a go of this, because a lot of people always want to try this stuff. Like in the Northeast area, there's a lot of cliche go-tos in this area where people want to do the same things. They see, we could start our own, Jersey should have its own football team because, these are New York teams that are playing in New Jersey. We should let them, move them back to New York and start our own team. Yeah, but with what money, what incentive, what direction, never happens. Then you get, like, the New Jersey All-Pro Wrestling League came around and has been around for...
It's been on and off,
years,
yeah,
right?
20 years. They just celebrated their 20th anniversary. I have friends
and outside of them, as far as like any kind of presence within the wrestling industry, who else do you know in as far as Jersey leagues go that put out a quality product? There's a lot of startups, but they're never quality products.
Well, I would say there's like a couple of quintessential Jersey promotions. There's Game Changer Wrestling, who basically are the best shows of WrestleMania
weekend. Are they the
weekend.
Game Changers?
Yeah, actually they are. Like,
so they live up to the hype.
They have lived up to the hype. They're a deathmatch company. It's not necessarily the wrestling I like, but they're getting a lot of buzz. They have a lot of great talent.
Right.
And there's Wrestle Pro, run by Pat Buck. It used to be Pro Wrestling Syndicate. Our friend Sam Roberts used to work there. But there's a bunch of smaller companies that bounce around. There's Pro Wrestling Magic. There's a whole bunch of places in the area. But
is that wrestling with magic cards?
No.
You draw down to see what move you're going to do?
Someone did actually pull out a Yu-Gi-Oh card once, and it was a little sad for everybody.
I'm casting a flying elbow.
You know what? Now that you've put that into the universe,
And then you turn the card sideways, and now you can do a sling blade and go for the pin.
Now I'm going to get a fucking email tomorrow to the Capital Wrestling email account. I have a gimmick idea for you. And that's one of the best and awful things about being a wrestling promoter is you get the emails and the contacts from people. Like, some of them will send you a perfectly worded letter, resume, clips, everything you need, and then I'll get, how can I get booked for your company? Or please book me. Or I've had people from Europe or South America want to get booked. And I'm like, pal, if I'm not flying in guys who are in the WWE, how am I going to fly you up from Sao Paulo when you have no buzz, or like it's like taking a chance on you? It's weird. It's a weird like culture shift when you go from being talent to producer, and you know that too. You from when your radio career, now you're the front man for this gig after being the side man for a very long time.
Yes, it's pathetically sad.
It's shut the fuck up.
Not your division. Yours is doing very well. Mine is just, what am I doing after this interview? Oh, I think I'm gonna go watch the third Terminator that I've never seen.
Oh yeah, like as soon as we're done with this interview, we're hopping in an Uber and getting Taco Bell. It's not like I'm living.
And also catching up with Jersey Shore. That's what we're gonna be doing.
Well, were you not here for the main show? We just tried the naked chicken chalupa thing that just came out today.
And you say, oh, show up at 8:15.
Well, because we were doing the other show.
Yeah, but you didn't say that. I would have left work early. We would have gotten a car earlier.
I tried to. I said we were taping at 6, and you're like, oh, I can't do that.
Well, because I can't leave my job yet.
Right.
But if I would have been told naked chicken chalupas, I would have faked a death of a family member.
I had no idea. Trevor surprised all of us, and we're like, oh, wow, we're going to have food at this.
Fucking Trevor. I'm going to put the heat on Trevor.
Trevor's a big boy. You could probably lure him in and have him do some jobs for you.
I've had people say, when I started promoting my first company about 4 years ago, I did a podcast somewhere in the Middle Village, Queens, to promote the event.
Right.
And this guy messages me, hey.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That's some thunder.
Someone die? Is God coming back? But he messaged me, I played baseball for all these years. I want to be a wrestler.
Right.
Put me in the ring. I'm like, well, you need to train. It's like, no, I don't want to do any of that. It's like,
was it Abe Knuckleball Schwartz?
I wish. Oh, he's a dick. I've heard.
Is he really?
I've heard he's a dick.
Oh, good. That's why he's not wrestling. He had a horrible gimmick to begin with. So
like 8 of them.
You have all this going on, and we're going to talk about the development and where you're at right now with Capital Wrestling, and obviously the talent and the operations. But I want to talk to Stephanie a little bit here. What's it like joining into this into this company, where at least as far as the major league goes, the WWE, they're in the midst of a women's revolution,
right?
And that has brought a lot more attention to women wrestlers, women writers, women being more involved in what was predominantly a male-run sport,
right?
So now that, because the WWE is giving it a big push and it's doing gangbusters for them financially, I'm sure it's trickling down and helping all the smaller outfits as far as people being more open to having female wrestlers on the roster.
Yeah, well, we would hope so. Also, what I always really appreciated is Matt is always willing to bring in women in all aspects. So we have, Candice Cordelia, who's really amazing, our interviewer, our backstage interview. She's extremely talented. We have also Shannon, who works, what would you say, like front of the house?
Yeah, front of the house.
Like relations, like wrestler relations.
Community organizing, sponsorships.
She's one of the beating hearts. Like, I think a lot of the shows would be really difficult to run without her.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also help out in, I'm one of the, maybe like a silent person in the background, helping keep things organized.
But you wear many hats.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
You're not just, as Matt jumped the gun and introduced you before I had a chance to, that you are a writer for the program. So you're working backstage on a bunch of different things. You're writing, but you're also performing as well.
Yeah.
So you're wearing multiple hats within this organization. Can you break down the 3 different tiers here as far as what are you doing behind the scenes when you're not writing?
Sure. Well, I guess to start, about a year ago, one of the first things that Matt said when they wanted to start Capital was, we definitely want you as a manager, because a lot of people can see it.
What if he said, we definitely want you as a man? Like, that's going to be your gimmick.
I would need like a lot of prep time.
It's like they're really going balls to the wall to try to get noticed at this company.
I see what you did there.
Boo.
Boo.
I didn't say it was quality. I said it's quantity.
But he said it can be seen as kind of an acting job.
Right.
Managers, don't have to get in the ring. So at the very least, I could take my skills in that because I've been an actress and a writer for over 12 years. I can at least take my skills there and use it to create a character in the ring.
Did you have to go when you decide that you're going to do a character outside of just being a manager? Did you have to go through training, like a training program, to learn to take bumps and how to protect yourself, how to protect the people you're wrestling with?
No, thus far, no. But that's also my choice. I know that what they do in the ring, what the wrestlers do, is extremely difficult, and it does take a lot of training. And I certainly don't want to think that I can do that. Number one, that's extremely insulting to them.
Well, not with that attitude.
It's so insulting to them, and also I don't want to hurt anybody, nor do I want to get hurt.
Of course.
Anything that I've done, I've maybe slapped somebody, which I've done in many different stage productions. I've done slaps like that, and that's really it.
Outside
as opposed to the match in December, which we can get to. But besides that, I don't
you're involved in a way, but you're not actually physically participating within the matches.
I do, but in terms of distracting the ref.
Yeah, you're throwing a monkey wrench into the situation rather than you're going in there and when the ref's not looking, choking the guy out or doing the cliche, shot under the low blow or something like that.
A lot of managers nowadays don't really do that.
Well, they don't.
Not what I've seen. And also the valets, I don't think really. Sometimes it depends on their training, right?
There's a missing art as far as managers go, where you're only seeing it in the smaller leagues, the smaller federations, as compared to WWE. They have occasionally the valet, but they're just not into the whole manager ordeal. And I kind of think that certain wrestlers, I don't want to just keep comparing everything to the WWE, but it is the biggest.
It's like
in
if
your division.
You can't not compare anything in wrestling not compare it to the WWE.
To WWE. Well, see, I didn't want. Some people may find that insulting when you're trying to build your own thing. It's like, well, you're not like the WWE. Well, no, duh, they're not like the WWE.
Well, yeah, if I built a brewery, we'd constantly be compared to Budweiser and Coors. It's like that's the brand.
You're no Budweiser or Coors. How dare you assume that? No, but I'm saying like the whole role of a manager just doesn't seem to be appreciated in the WWE. I like that when you see smaller shows, especially when you're down south and you see the indie shows, they love a manager. Anybody who can talk so the wrestler doesn't have to is like the go-to. Almost everybody has a manager. And that was a lot of fun to see back in the day in the professional wrestling leagues where you had the wrestlers who would help raise the profile of a wrestler who was maybe physically gifted, but just was not a verbal performer. Like wasn't good for cutting a promo, and to have what she's doing, what you're doing in there. Are you? I know you're interfering, but are you a mouthpiece too? Do you get very vocal and
she writes her own promo?
Yeah, no, it's the manager that I play, Portia Vaughn, who is really whatever the worst type of feminist you can think of, the most obnoxious.
Is that what?
That's what Portia Vaughn is.
So you're very vocal.
Yeah, and I think it might be because you were also a manager.
Yes.
Matt is why he can appreciate what I have to bring to the table.
So
in terms of that,
do you have a set stable of wrestlers that you manage within Capital Wrestling, or is it just one particular person that you're always paired with?
It's a few, right?
It's about 3.
It might grow.
You're building your own little Heenan family.
It might grow. We don't know. Spoilers. It might.
Spoilers.
It might grow.
Okay.
There's plans.
But do you speak for all of them, or do your wrestler
do.
or your wrestlers vocal too? Very passionate on the mic.
No, very rarely. I think I do speak for all of them.
So that's
I
the
pick,
strength to what you're doing. Then, is to make them look better.
And
because
so I just
right
write.
now there's some. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you. I apologize. There's some wrestlers that I know that WWE thinks are going to be huge, or they're trying to push over, and they're just not a personality. They're a force to be reckoned with. They're a good wrestler. They're a good performer, but as far as a personality, they're not there. They brought back Bobby Lashley. All right. Bobby Lashley had a good run his first time in the WWE, had an incredible run over an Impact where he was more of the villain rather than a babyface. They bring him back here. And this is going to sound completely horrible, but this is the only way I can describe it. I've never seen a black guy so vanilla, you know, where he comes out, he's a force to be reckoned with, but when he talks, it's like, I looked at his, like, they showed his whole career, you know, from high school wrestling to college wrestling to being in the military and all, and nothing but respect for what he does. But when he gets on the microphone, it's just like, I have no attraction to this. He's a guy that needs somebody that's a ball buster or a loudmouth to push him over.
I did,
and they
say
don't
that.
seem to like to do that.
I did say that to Matt the other day. Literally, that same thing is that they don't really seem. If the person is not going to be in the ring at any point, they don't really want to bring in a manager, except for Paul Heyman, like unless you're grandfathered in.
Right.
Because as from what I can think off the top of my head, the people now that are being mouthpieces, Aiden English is a wrestler. Selena Vega is a wrestler. Lana, they may become a wrestler. So it's there. To me, I haven't seen them yet unless they're grandfathered in.
Right.
I haven't seen anyone yet that they bring in just as a person, literally just to be a mouthpiece.
Like, I don't know how you feel about this particular wrestler. And then, I mean, we can get away from WWE, but Baron Corbin. Okay,
I like Baron Corbin.
He was so destructive in NXT. Like, he was a different personality, a different character altogether before they brought him up to the main roster. Right now, it's like they want him to destroy everything, but it looks like they don't know what his personality is. And even when he tries to talk, it's like, dude, I don't care. Even if you're standing in front of me, I know he can obliterate me as a human being. He could beat the crap out of me. But if he was trying to talk, all I would be doing is either grinding my teeth or laughing, because I'm like, you're not intimidating. Physically, you can kill me, but your words mean nothing.
He's a guy that hasn't really found his truest self yet. And there's a lot of guys like that in all levels of wrestling who haven't, there's an idea for them. They're a project. There's something there with Baron Corbin, and you can see it. And Vince McMahon obviously sees it, and the writing staff, you obviously see it. So they're trying to find out what that is, but he's too impressive to just stay on NXT, because he wouldn't. It's a different kind of ball game now.
Right.
There. It's a more independent style. It's a more indie, cool, kick-ass style. His style should be northeastern big guy with a little bit of speed, a lot of power, and create some sort of dynamic edge to him. He doesn't need to talk much. He just needs to be a dickhead. And you can find ways.
But they keep making him talk.
But they need, because everybody has to talk up there. That's the thing, and that's not a bad thing. You're trying to teach these guys.
I get that, but there's sometimes you just look and you go, he may not be a guy who would be solid on the mic. He might benefit more for having a mouthpiece with it.
But there needs to be someone who causes that paradigm shift. Someone so undeniable as a performer that you have to have them on your television. That's what's gonna cause the change. The idea of a manager has existed in wrestling since like the 1950s, going back to Bobby Davis, who used to manage he managed Buddy Rogers, who could talk his ass off. And then in the 80s, when we were growing up,
Classy Freddie Blassie.
Freddie Blassie, one of the greatest heels of all time in the ring and as a manager. In the 80s, everybody had a fucking manager.
Because you would know better than I do, but I think it was because these were legendary guys that they didn't want to lose the namesake. That's why they kept them around and made them managers. Like nowadays, it's so big, it doesn't matter if the older names are still around. Half of them are backstage as producers or working with talent as it is. But I think back then, when Vince was starting up, he wanted to keep some of those names because they were still a draw, but made them managers so that they were still visibly present. They didn't have to wrestle, and they still continued with what he was trying to build. So I think that's why he had all the managers back then. And then all of a sudden, when they started getting their footing and became the WWF brand, 80s into the 90s, then he's like, we don't need the managers anymore. Get rid of them. The superstars are holding it up as it is.
I think it was more of a cultural shift, because if you watch any of the stuff on the WWE network of the old WWF stuff,
like a generational layover.
Yeah,
kind of
like if you look at if you watch like anything from the 70s or early 80s before Vince bought it,
right?
You had Lou Albano, you had the Grand Wizard, you had Freddie Blassie, you had these managers,
Engelbert Humperdinck.
The singer Engelbert. It was Oliver Humperdinck.
Oliver Humperdinck.
But he was in Florida. I won't get nerdy, but
yeah.
You had these managers, and that kind of just carried over, and that was the thing to do. And I think when Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara came in, they got rid of a lot of that, because they didn't want fat old men on their TV. They wanted young, big-breasted women, Sunny, Sable. Tori, all those women that came in during that time, And then they were just like, oh, this is the new thing now. And it just kind of created this idea of a new normal. And it just kind of shaped to where it is now, where there's a manager. There's Paul Heyman, who's not a manager, he's an advocate. And if you say he's a manager, he's going to excoriate you on social media. And then there was Paul Ellering in NXT. Yeah. And there's Zelina Vega, but she's like a player coach. And you have these different things. But that's the great thing about Capitol is that we have Portia Vaughn, we have Matthew Ryan Shapiro, we have Neil Sharkey, who's a manager from Virginia who is fucking great, an entertaining character, great old school heel. And then you have these 5-tool players who can wrestle, who can manage, who can do so many different things. And that's kind of one of our core philosophies is that
nothing but managers.
No, but it's like every character needs a reason. Every character kind of has to have a purpose or an identity.
Right.
So if like, let's say the Apostles of Chaos come in and they're nihilist assholes who just want to fuck people up, how do you bring them in? Oh, they got paid off to beat up a guy because he kicked somebody in the dick. That's how we brought someone in.
Is that a popular finishing move in Capitol Wrestling?
It was the setup to an angle that lasted about 6 months.
Okay.
So that was our
impressive
first
run.
angle. Yeah. Well, because we do weekly TV, so we've done 50. Well, after this slate of tapings, about 60 episodes of TV.
And it was very successful for you.
The angle was fun. It wasn't a top angle. The top angle.
Are you gonna have your yearly dick kicking angle?
No, no yearly dick kicking angle. But
one in December. But
well, yes.
Spoiler.
I got hit in the balls.
Stephanie. So, like we said, you were wearing many hats. So you're a writer too. So you being a manager has got to be a lot more pressure because in the higher levels, most of the managers were only performing to what the writers were writing. The managers, unless they were a super strong personality like a Lou Albano or something like that, really didn't have the carte blanche to do what they wanted. It was pretty much scripted. And like Jimmy Hart was a great mouthpiece, but a lot of his stuff was pre-written for him. So he was like, all right, here's A to B. How we're going to figure out how to get there. I want you to say the following things, and then Jimmy would go out and do what he did because Jimmy was God bless him, one of the more physical managers where he was throwing stuff in and then could take a bump. Like, when The Rock exaggerates the stunner because they were just doing it for themselves to laugh at. You hit Jimmy hard, he would go flying because he was 20, he was 100 pounds wet, would go flying in through the ropes, out the ropes, onto the audience, whatever he was doing. But the stuff was written out for him. You're a manager, so now if you have a collective of talent that you're trying to help out,
right?
So do you have sole creativity as far as what you're doing as writing? When you're going out to do these angles, like, all right, I need to figure out a way to push this guy over or to make this match a little bit better. Do you just go and do it on the fly because you're a writer, or do you still have to go through a collective and then everybody agrees on what they're doing?
I think I understand what he's saying. I think the angles for the actual wrestlers, that's decided by, I think
me and Marcus.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what we're keeping kayfabe or what we're not. You gotta tell me.
This point,
you and Marcus,
dog's out the barn.
Right. So as far as the angles for the wrestlers, they tell me, and then I can always find a way to justify why a feminist character is representing this person.
Right.
How a feminist character can influence this person, this wrestler, and how a feminist character can enhance them. So that's usually where the challenge comes in, what I'm writing, and it changes every show. Meaning like I'll pick a different theme to go with. I think last time, it's spring now. So with growth and, having the characters grow, just stuff, it doesn't sound as impressive now, but it is.
It's a good promo. It's actually airing on TV this week. I need to send it to Zane.
But that's normally where my creativity can come in, is that it's up to Matt and Marcus who I'm going to manage. And then it would be up to me, okay, well, why would a feminist character be helping this person out? Whether it's male or female, because I'm able to justify it for both. Because you would think at first glance, well, this woman hates men. And normally that's the case.
But don't they all?
But except for men who agree that women are stronger and they can help them improve, and that a woman is always right. So then that male wrestler is okay with me.
Do you have the power or the ability to fix things on the fly if stuff gets botched or messed up during the match?
I'm normally not as involved physically with the matches. I mean, that could change with time, but normally I usually just distract the ref, and that's been okay thus far.
How are we
knock on
distracting
wood.
the ref? Are we going like old school Yokozuna
I
salt
get
in the
him.
eyes? Or
I just get on the apron and yell at the ref that he's not doing his job. And then he can't yell at me because I'm a woman.
But true.
Yes, I've
Technique.
used it myself. And it's like it's a situational thing. Like when you're talking, like if something goes wrong in a match, that's up to the wrestlers and the referee kind of figure out. They're the ones setting the roadmap for we'll tell them, okay, you've got this much time. Here's how we want the match to end. Giving away all the secrets of booking. But so you build the shell, like basically you're creating the format for them to go down. And then from there, they're able to fill in the dots, fill in the different things to try to get to where they need to go. So if something gets fucked up, like if someone gets hurt or something, they're going to fix it on the fly themselves. So that's allowing them to work within the space and try to figure out the best possible way for the audience to be happy.
And that's good to have that much creative freedom as far as your performers go, because at least like say with WWE, I know everything not only is so nowadays so meticulous, like they're constantly rewriting the show even up to the half hour before the show even goes on the air. They may have had 4 or 5 different drafts of what the show's going to be, but within the match, you know that, look, the announcer has an earpiece, the ref has an earpiece, and when stuff has to be changed on the fly because maybe something screwed up or whatever, they'll just say, get to the ending or whatever. And it's out of the wrestler's control in the sense of to fix the story. It's get to the ending. It is what it is. But you allow your guys to...
You kind of have to at this level because you're not in a position to necessarily micromanage and control. And once they go out there, they don't have a contract. They're not signed to anything. I'm paying them at the end of the night. I'm giving them an envelope. I'm saying thank you.
You have bullet points.
Yeah, no,
and then they can just decide.
Yeah, it's
what
like
to do.
I have thanks to you. I have a format sheet style.
Thanks to me?
Yeah, because you sent me a format sheet a little while ago. I used to.
Oh, shush. Yes. I know what you're
I
talking
ended
about.
up. No, I used to have a very specific writing style that wasn't really working, and I was able to find a format. It was more of like a universal TV format.
Right.
So it was like just a traditional TV format that I was able to figure that out and get a way around it and kind of make it a little easier.
Was it that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah, it was that.
okay.
It was that. Yeah.
Forgot about that.
But it was... I could get them from anybody at this point, but it was just like you lay out the idea of the match. The way I format my TV is like I'll do announcer notes and then I'll do wrestler notes or like match notes. So this is what we need from you. Like if it's the opening match, I put no dives because I don't want dives in the opener because the main event's going to need something. Like the next match is going to need something. You're building. You're basically creating, and we like to talk about our shows like a mixtape. You're creating an album. Sometimes we call the matches tracks just like because we like music and we're fucking nerds. So we kind of cultivate, like we want the shows to be as free and expressive as they can, but we need parameters because if every match has hot shit, at the end of the night,
I believe the kids call it fire.
Yes, that's straight hot fire, yes. If every match is the same and every guy is trying to do the same thing and the big moves and all that other stuff, they're limiting themselves. And they're also finding ways for them to, like, people aren't going to come back if it's the same match over and over again.
So it wouldn't be acceptable if somebody started a match, the first show on the card there, and then the first move is just the finisher and it's done.
If that's what we booked, then yeah, that's fine.
No, especially if you didn't book it.
Oh, if I didn't book that, they're getting yelled at.
It's like, we have another 15 minutes till the next match. It's like, we're just going to stand around for a while, go get a hot dog.
It's hose it down, keep it moving.
Well, let's talk about that then. What are some of the weirder or the more frustrating things that you've seen, at least on the level of what you guys are doing?
Let's see.
Pick the political answer.
Yeah. It's honestly when things go outside the ring. When you've rented a building, you're renting other people's property, and you're like, oh, God, don't break anything. Don't break anything. For the love of God, don't fucking break anything. And I'll tell people on our roster.
Homecoming's tomorrow. Don't smash the bleachers.
Yeah. It's like, oh, this school, we run in a school that also has a church in it, and they're lending us all of their equipment. For the love of God, do not fucking do that. And it's like the simple shit of like we turn a public school in Hoboken into a television studio in less than 12 hours.
Right.
We convert a conference room into our pre-tape room. We have like a little office for setup. We turn the hallways and locker rooms And we used to be able to use the classrooms, but we can't use the classrooms legally, and we want to keep the building. So it's like dealing with all the minutia of dealing
A lot of people
with
changing in the stairwells. Is that what it is?
Not pretty much stairwells and hallways and bathrooms, kitchens.
Yeah.
It's the problem is you're trying to create this grand, very modern product, this very larger than life product within the parameters of a school. So it's like you're creating and cultivating, like if you watch our television from episode 1 to episode 57, you're going to see a seismic shift in not only the quality of wrestling. The wrestling always has been good, but like there's other levels to it now. We've had amazing matches over the last few months with a lot of the key additions we brought in.
Now with audio.
Yes. No, but our audio's improved. Like we have Dan Bynum, who's a senior producer who worked for WCW, World Class, Ring of Honor, one of my, television wrestling mentors.
Wow.
And we have some of the best, like smartest people in the room helping us, consulting with us, and we've been able to take this product visually to the point where it's a full show. It's a full experience for 30 to 40 minutes a week. And it's gotten to the point where it's like every week you're like, how the fuck did we pull this off?
Yeah. What else? What are some of the other stories as far as, obviously don't break anything in the facility that you're in, but like, do you have the issue of where people come from other leagues and think that they know better than what the show is?
No, I could say that we don't have assholes in our locker room. Like, there are people who know who they are and they express that they, but everybody's along with the program. Everybody listens. Everybody wants to work. Everybody's collaborative. People have ideas. We're willing to listen to ideas. I'm not going to motherfuck you for saying you have an idea.
Right.
Like if I was...
No, I'm not saying from your end, but I'm saying do people walk in who maybe have some experience from other territories that come in and say, this is how I do it, and...
Well, you're
do you run into that a lot or not really?
Not really. Not to the point where it's like, oh, this is exacerbating.
Are you getting more people on their way up rather than the way down?
Yeah, I would say our roster's fairly balanced.
So you have people that are committed and willing to work and put their best foot forward.
Yeah, we have a lot of those people in the locker room.
Because I can only imagine, other territories and other companies have horror stories.
Oh yeah, I've been in some bad locker rooms. I've been in place. I've been in some terrible shows.
I feel like, and I've told you this several times, how lucky you are, especially for the people on the production end.
Yeah.
Where they give everything, literally 200%. And, some of them are not being paid. I mean, they're doing it, some of them are college students. And you would think they had money invested in it with how much they care about what they're doing. And
that's a good idea. I shouldn't try to do that.
What?
Just get them to give me some money.
It's our 21-year-old, one of our 20-year-old interns, I'm sure will give you money. But that's also, I think, what helps you is that you've really been blessed with like a really good production staff and everyone in the back.
Like I call myself a cog in the wheel.
Right.
Because me and my partner, like, we're the ones running the show day to day, but if it weren't for people like Zane Decker, our director, Danny Walsh, Matt Koffler, our camera people, Mike Kaufman, who does our lighting, and Greg Massey, who's our composer. Like, we have a fucking composer.
You guys we have unique theme songs?
Yeah, we have unique theme songs for almost everybody on the roster. We have our own unique Capital Wrestling theme song that plays every week on TV in the open. Yeah,
he's really talented.
He's one of the most talented
Jim
people
Johnson.
I've met. Yeah,
he is amazingly talented.
And we have great people at all aspects, like Steven Toro, who helps format our podcast, Darnell and Dustin, who do the Capital Wrestling podcast.
Our commentators.
Stephen James, and Harry Turjanian.
Which is a name that was really familiar
to
you.
For our listeners.
Yes.
Harry was... the one that Anthony called the C word when he worked for the Ron and Fez show.
Yes.
So if
Harry's also been my writing partner for over 10 years.
Yeah. But Harry has grown as a person, both creatively and as a fine human being. All right.
I had to.
We're not sugarcoating it.
I had to throw that in
Bring in the fucking shovel today.
No, I love him. I've known him for 11 years.
All right. Well, we'll just say it this way. You remember Harry.
Yes.
And we'll leave it at that. There's no other else to describe
It is
him.
very hilarious that Fat Matt the Angry Intern runs a professional wrestling company featuring Harry Elvis.
Yes.
And you both met through me.
Yes.
It's extremely strange for me.
It's very weird, yes.
Because I was a listener of
Yes.
O&A for many, many years.
I took her ID one day
Yeah.
when we were at 57th Street. Weirdly
The
enough.
XM facility,
The XM
yeah.
facility, yeah. And you know who's our beverage vendor?
Master Poe.
No,
Oh, wait, yeah.
fucking Jared. He's doing really
Jared,
well.
what did Sam call Jared, the
Cream pie,
fish
no.
boy?
Yes, Jared the fish boy.
Fish boy, yeah, intern Jared, and he was also on special delivery.
Yes,
with
he was.
Sam and Dave.
I
yeah.
was as well.
Were you really?
Yeah.
Good for you for getting out of that.
Jesus.
That show was nothing but trouble for people. Well, if you want to talk a little bit about that, we can. We can put a pin in your other stuff, and we'll come back to it. Matt used to intern for the Opie and Anthony show back in the day, in the long ago.
Many
when
people hated
you
me.
were with us on the XM side, and when we were doing the
K-Rock.
thing with CBS.
Yeah.
For the terrestrial syndication, were you with us when we moved over to Sirius?
I was with you guys. Yeah, I started with
This was
you-
before they put the cap on the intern limits, right?
Yeah,
okay.
It was December 07 is when I started.
Okay.
Danny and Steve hired me.
Okay.
And I remember starting my first day, I think, was right the day before Christmas break.
Okay.
And Hip Hop Ron was there, and a few other people were there, and
All forgettable.
oh Jesus! Nah, my intern class weird. I was in the intern David era, so my
Well, he was a legend.
Yeah.
You could only hope to reach his greatness.
I still have him as a friend on Facebook, and every once in a while I'll
He
just
will not talk to any of us.
but I'll see him post about the Mets. That's the only thing.
Opie tells a story about one time him and Patrice were eating lunch somewhere, and it was a window.
Yeah.
And David just happened to be walking past, and he wasn't interning with us anymore.
Yeah.
Happened to be walking past, and he just kind of stopped, and he was doing whatever, and he looked in, he saw Opie and Patrice, got real wide-eyed, and kind of ran away. Right? And that was technically the last time we knew anything about him, because he wound up finishing up his intern program, but his parents were not happy that he was doing any of this. Then we found out, a listener found out where he was working in Manhattan. I won't go
think
into
he's
that.
still there.
He is still there.
Yeah.
But people would then get really creepy and just take paparazzi-style photos of him while he was doing his job at what we will call hallowed grounds.
Yes.
You know? And it's like, this really isn't the place to be doing this, but people are going, oh no, David, oh. And he's like, just, gets all weird and
He just wants
quirky
to
and
give
runs away.
tours and go home.
Yeah, that's all he wants to do. And look, the kid was radio gold, but
Yes. He meant well.
He was a little off,
Yeah.
but he was a nice person. He was not a malicious person. He was not an evil person. He just wanted to exist peacefully.
He made life a horror show.
You know what I'm going to
For
do
all of
at the
us.
end of this episode here, as a little tribute? I will play some of the David parody songs we made him sing. I'll do a little montage.
I
at
thought
the
you were
end of
gonna.
this.
I thought you were gonna say, what the hell is that called? The
Intern
internal
reviews?
Yeah, the intern reviews.
Oh,
When it was
I forgot
him
about that.
interacting.
And he was firing every intern because
Yes.
they were all horrible.
And that day,
That was
no
my
one-
favorite clip of yours. Was the intern
Were you there with
reviews.
Scott, the 40-year-old intern?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
It was me, Scott, Paul, Charlie.
Paul, yeah.
And I remember walking in that day not knowing that the intern reviews were happening because I don't think I had XM at the time.
Okay.
I showed up, everybody's dressed nice, and I think it was Sam was like, why aren't you, oh no, it was David, why aren't you dressed nice? I was like, it's Friday? What the fuck? It's intern review day. It's like, of course.
Yeah.
Of fucking course. And Jill was the only one who got positive reviews, obviously.
Jill.
Intern Jill, Cotton Ball Girl.
Oh, yeah. This girl had a phobia of cotton balls.
No, I remember.
Oh,
She
yeah.
was a listener.
I was a listener for many years.
We dumped cotton balls because Oprah was really into the Maury Povich show at the time when he would do the phobia shows. And I think we paid her money to lay there while
think you did.
we made cotton ball snow on top of her while she was laying on the floor freaking out.
Yeah, she ended up working, I think, at Caroline's for a bit, and then kind of just went
Disappeared.
into the ether. I think I have her on LinkedIn.
I
somewhere.
barely I remember the cotton ball
Yeah.
situation now. I didn't remember at all to that, but I think she was very nice.
She was.
I
She
think
was very
a
lovely.
very sweet girl.
Yeah, she came over with us. That whole crew went over to Swivel Hips, and all of us went over from
Sirius XM.
K-Rock. It was K-Rock, the firing, the second really big on-air argument.
Yeah.
I remember it was the February argument. where Opie and Anthony were arguing, and I'm just sitting at the computer doing the instant
Or you could just
feedbacks.
call that Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't as chaotic when I was there.
Okay.
It was chaotic.
It was there, it just wasn't as public.
Yeah.
It wasn't as surface level.
But I remember Kenny walking into Steve's office saying, "This radio show is ending. What are we going to do about this?"
Yeah.
Or something akin to that. But like very quintessential Kenny, who when I was working like right across the street, I ran into Kenny one day at the Metro Cafe. He didn't know who the fuck I was, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
Yeah.
But it was,
I still talk to Kenny to this day.
How is Kenny?
Kenny's doing great.
That's awesome.
Kenny, I don't want to divulge his
Yeah.
business. That's for him to do so.
Mm-hmm.
But there have been photos of some of his celebrity level clientele
Hey, good for
where
Kenny.
he's shown up on Getty Photos, TMZ, things like that. Well, this one is no surprise to anybody, or no secret, but there were photos of Amy Schumer down at the marches whenever they were in
Yeah.
D.C., and you see Kenny walking alongside her. That's one
Club
of his
Soda
clients.
Kenny walking in the Women's March. I need that photo for my home.
You can find it. Just look up Amy Schumer
Yeah.
photos, and you'll see him in there.
I
But
have
yeah, I
to-
talk to Kenny every now and then. I'm still very close with him. I love that.
Kenny
that
was
big
the
galoot.
best. Kenny was one of the best people there.
He was. If you were a good person and demonstrated that you were a good person, Kenny liked you.
Yeah.
If he knew that there was chicanery in the midst of and you were not a good person, he either ignored you or he was determined to make your life a living hell.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was very true for many of the people we worked with at the time.
But overall, you had a good experience. I'm hoping.
I say this all the time. If it weren't for the Opie and Anthony show, I wouldn't.
Your life would have been much better.
Yeah, it would. No, honestly, it wouldn't, because that's what got me into CrossFit. It got me to drop 75 pounds. It gave me to have like more confidence. Like the Opie and Anthony show taught me how to think on my feet,
Right.
and how to deal with fucking crazy people.
Okay.
Like it was good. It was good real world preparedness, because you wouldn't get that at any other place.
You would, but I think to a lesser level.
Yeah, it wouldn't be intense. It wasn't like you were walking into the last days of Saigon every day.
Yeah, that. Yeah, right before the napalm was
Yeah.
about to drop, you'd hear the sirens and like, I'm leaving. I'm going home early today because I'm not standing around for this. But overall, you had a good experience.
Yeah.
They used to call you Fat Matt on the air
It was Fat Matt
because Sam
then
named
Angry
you that,
Matt.
right?
Yeah, I think it was Sam. I don't
It
remember.
has to be. It sounds like a Sam thing.
It probably was. It could have been Danny. I don't think it was Travis. Me and Travis really didn't talk that much.
I feel like it was Danny.
It could have been Danny.
have no idea.
It's fucking 10
feel
years
like
ago. I think Opie started calling me Angry Matt because they're like, oh, he's angry. It's
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah.
I was 18 and tired and fucking didn't want to deal with people. I was a very angry boy.
So no difference.
No. The difference
Not at
between
all.
19 and 28, there's like a thin line, a sliver of difference.
Is that what you're at now? 28?
Yeah, I'm going to be 29 in July.
God, you make me feel old. All right.
Fuck you.
No, that's not an insult to you.
I know.
That's
It's like, you're
God,
not an
time's
old man.
Time is passing by.
Yeah.
But look
Trust
at
me,
you
on the
now.
inside, he's like a grizzled 67.
Yeah. It's,
On the inside, you're
my
old
knees are
shit.
fucked. I'm just, every day I'm walking like a goddamn Frankenstein
Every day you're
monster.
hustling.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
how you have to look at it.
I do. As
Today
I-
is a good day, and every day you're hustling.
Oh, yes.
What are some of the unique things that Capital Wrestling brings to the entertainment spectrum here? Look, there's all different kinds of wrestling organizations, especially in the Northeast, where everybody. Say what you want about professional wrestling. More people than not love some degree of wrestling. Whether if you're not a WWE guy, you're a TNA guy. If you're not one of those guys, you like Ring of Honor, or you like going to the indie shows, the smaller productions like what you guys do with Capital Wrestling there. What is it that sets you apart? Obviously, and you spoke about your production value and the quality is is better than most. You guys do an amazing job. You have your own composer, which I'm still blown away about the guy.
I'll connect you two to
It's not just a guy hitting the demo button on a
He's
Casio
the guy
and then
hitting-
changing
no.
the key for
No.
each wrestler.
He's the one doing that, though. He's the one playing everybody in and out. He's playing his
Like a
own
church
music.
organ?
No. No, but he's the one that actually plays the music. Like, he's the one that acts as our in-house DJ. Him and
Yeah,
Mike
it's all
Kaufman run the music.
pre-recorded and
Yeah,
ready to go.
yeah.
He's not playing it on the
We've
fly.
had had live bands at shows before. We try to do cool shit.
What are you coming out to? Heart and Soul or Chopsticks? That's all I know. But no, you guys have a unique production quality for the size of your company. You're right up there doing full television production. What are some of the qualities as far as the performance? What do you offer that some of the other companies may not? What draws people to watch Capital Wrestling?
It's the talent. It's honestly guys like Matt McIntosh, Darius Carter, Anthony Gangone, Logan Easton LaRue, the Mick Drake, Ariel and Nix, Luxury Muscles Incorporated, Portia Vaughn's team. It's every single person on the roster providing something unique. Mm-hmm. And each week or each show, you're going to see different unique variables of people. Or people you've never seen before in New York, like the Menfo Mofo, a guy that was trained by Taz, a guy who basically is the pinnacle of modern Southern wrestling. And then you have a guy like Darius Carter, who is the old school, wear a scarf to the ring, black boots, black trunks, shit kicker, rich guy heel. You have the AOC, who are just three punk motherfuckers from Brooklyn. You have these different unique variables of characters. We have the Capital Wrestling title's been never been seen. The Capital Wrestling title is in a bag because Matthew Ryan Shapiro bought it out from under the company. It's his property, and he refuses to have it seen. He handed the belt to a champion. Ken Dixon, who's been our champion since October, another guy he lives the gimmick in the best way possible because he is also a guy that wants to carry a company on his back. A guy like Mac McIntosh, who has had some of the best matches I've ever seen inside a Capitol ring, and he continues to do that. This week, actually, on TV, I hate to keep plugging it, but Matt McIntosh goes up against Paul Jourdain, who's 6'8", 297 legit. And
tall?
Well, yes.
Okay.
That's tall in independent wrestling. It's like Andre the Giant level.
Yeah, of course that's tall. That's a monster.
Yes. But he's a very lovely man. But
rewind real quick.
Yeah.
You said your character Matthew Shapiro, which is he a manager or is he an advocate?
He's a manager.
He's a manager. Okay. So you take a lot of bumps and physicality.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I actually got discus lariated on TV 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah. I took a shitty bump, but I took a bump.
What do you do in that situation? Do you guys are you?
We
insured?
go over
you
it.
Have health insurance, or
yes, I have a job, so I have health insurance. But we also have building
but I'm
insurance.
saying, is wrestling providing health insurance for you?
No, I have.
You have another job that takes care
yes,
of that for you.
I have to.
I'm just explaining that because
Yeah.
most people don't understand when you go to a company like that.
Yeah.
You're all independent contractors,
Yes.
so you're not getting benefits. You're not getting overtime. You're not getting your taxes taken out. You're not getting health insurance.
Yeah.
So when you sign an agreement to do an independent show like this, it's kind of at your own risk.
Yeah.
Where you're getting paid to do the job, but if you get hurt, then you got to find some way to take care of it.
But we also have venue insurance as well. So
Right.
Or if someone hits you with a kendo stick in the back.
Yes. In December.
At home or at the show?
At the show.
Oh, at the show. Okay.
In December, we did our match called World War IV, which is kind of like a chaotic, cageless version of War Games.
Right.
And I was inserted into the match at our October show because the
Rocktober.
Yes, Rocktober. Yeah. Yes, Jocktober. The on-screen owner, my business partner Marcus Dowling, put me in the match. I fainted. It was hilarious. You can watch it on YouTube. I go out for the match. There was a mystery.
Scripted or no?
No, that was scripted. Yeah.
Oh,
I did it on the fly. I was
It'd be great if you went and then just fluttered down.
I might have did old Elizabeth, but but we had a mystery partner, and Portia and Shapiro since the beginning of the company, because Portia came in and stole the tag team titles essentially on the first night of the company.
Did you buy them out too, like Shapiro did?
No, Luxury Muscles Incorporated won them.
Okay.
Yes, but
fair and square.
You asked for them first.
Yeah, because women need to ask for things that men are just given.
Oh, there we go.
Or purchase in the case of Matt Shapiro. But
or
that's what I want to get back
stolen.
to before you continue that. So you purchased the crowning achievement of your company. Mm-hmm. It's never defended?
No, it's defended. It's the Disputed Capital Wrestling Championship. It's owned by Matthew Ryan Shapiro.
You never see the disputed. Everything's
it's in
always
a bag.
The undisputed. Yeah, you never see the disputed angle behind it. And that's okay. That's something that Capital Wrestling brings to you that other outfits don't do that. Mm-hmm. You don't see the title. They're kind of hinting that it exists, and then you're just going to have to take our word when you go to defend it. So if you have it and your client then has the title because you have it, if your client loses, then the other person technically has the title, but you still don't take it out of the bag?
No, well, you got to watch Capital Wrestling and see.
Okay.
Got to see what happens next.
All right. Now I'm gonna have to go and do that.
Yeah.
CapitalWrestling.com.
You can go to capitalwrestling.com, youtube.com/Capital Wrestling, twitch.tv/Capital Wrestling. We're a Twitch partner. So if you do
your full episodes on Twitch?
Full episodes.
They are.
Full episodes.
Because the weird thing with Twitch is when you do a live stream, it does have it for a little while, but they don't keep it permanently. They kind of...
Yeah, no, but we upload.
Do you have a deal where you can keep the old shows up there?
Yeah, we upload them all to VOD.
All right.
So, like, we've done live specials before on Twitch, but we cut them up and post-produce them.
Gotcha. Okay. So, I'm trying to... I want to talk to you about your performance in this, because already it's great that you have a belt that no one's allowed to see or touch or use, and you'll just have to take his word.
Well,
that
it's
you
in a
can
bag, so
Yeah.
you see the bag. The bag is the thing everybody's going for.
Yeah, but you don't know that it's in there. It's also like when Jake the Snake would walk out, like, is Damien in that bag? You'd have to wait till the end of the match to see, but you're not showing the title
Nope.
at the end. So you don't even know if the snake's in the bag.
Exactly.
You're just carrying a bag.
Yes.
That's such a great dick move.
Marcus came up with that. I'll give Marcus the credit on that one. I'm just
That's why you need a beating.
Yes.
Why
I've
you
been
needed a beating.
beaten several times.
What are some of the physical things you've done in the ring?
Well, let's see.
What
Yeah.
you were saying,
Yeah.
which is in December. Our manager has had obviously like a conflict. Because his manager is a douchebag.
Yes.
And just going through all these like shisty ways of just getting, himself over, his clients over. So in December,
you carry a book with you, right?
Yes, I do.
What's the book?
Lucretia. It's a law book.
Okay. Sorry about
so
that.
what was the name of the match again?
World War
what do you
IV.
call it?
World War
Because
IV.
it's not really like a rumble, but there were a lot of
It's
people
like a
in it
war
at
game
once.
style
That's
match.
what it was.
Multiple
yeah.
rings?
No, well, just one ring.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was a mystery partner that had to come in at the end, which ended up being Portia Vaughn, who came out in a Handmaid's Tale robe, with the
big red.
Yeah.
to go with the feminist theme.
Did you have what are the women called? They're not, for lack of knowing the term, did you have a flock behind you as you were coming out, like
no,
like
just,
an order?
No, just me in the robe. And so what did I do to you? I slammed your head into the turnbuckle. I hit you with the book.
Yes, I did the Bret
Punched
Hart.
you in the dick.
Yes. And hit me with a Singapore cane.
And I hit you with a kendo stick.
The first one caught me right on the back.
Yep.
The other two shots didn't hurt. But the first one caught me
Did the
right
crowd
on the back.
enjoy it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, then that's all that matters.
Yeah, oh no, the crowd was popping like a son of a bitch. People love to see me get fucked
Beat
up.
the fat
Oh, yeah.
guy!
Yes, pretty much.
Punch him in the dick!
Oh, the
Yep.
the crowd, it's weird because whenever I go to cut a promo, there's a line I say every time I cut a promo. For those who are culturally unaware, my name is Matthew Ryan Shapiro. And I've said that in every promo I've done for about 5 years.
Okay.
And now at the point like where I'm at, either Capitol shows or House of Glory, where I also manage, several hundred to a few thousand people are saying it along with me, and it's the weirdest feeling in the world.
Saying what?
The line. For
Okay.
those who are culturally unaware, the whole cadence, it's like, my name is Paul Heyman. And that is the weirdest thing, because moments later, I will be called every F word. I've been compared to Donald Trump. When I've grown out my hair, they've said it's a wig. I've been called a pussy before. I've had fans try to fight
You
me.
ever have the
yeah.
shave match where they cut your hair, your beard, or any of that?
No, I haven't done that yet.
Okay.
Eventually. That is very weird. I told you at one of the shows, people were yelling like, "Oh, that's a microtransgression." I'm like, "Oh, this is strange." Like
Yeah.
they know,
It
like they follow,
there
and
are
they know
fans
who we are.
Well,
Every
you should
show.
be listening and taking notes, because then that's what you should be saying on the mic.
I have.
Oh,
She
okay,
has.
good.
Portia Vaughn has a blog called "Penises Are Microaggressions."
Oh, you really thought all this out.
That was my
I hope
idea,
all this is
motherfucker.
I hope all
that
this
was
is.
my idea.
I meant
was.
the royal you, not.
It's not royal. That was all mine.
the you as an organization. So all this is trademarked. I hope copywritten.
We're
Whatever you
working
got to
on
do.
it. We're
Okay,
working on
good.
it. Daddy needs money.
What about-
Patreon.com/Capital Wrestling.
Like any wrestling fan would, to tell a promoter, I have ideas for your thing. I really don't, but I was gonna say, like, what if they dress you up? Here's a unique idea: dress you up in a weasel suit and have you run around aimlessly in the ring.
Oh, I would do that.
Hasn't been done before.
When I went out for the match, I dressed like Andy Kaufman. I dressed up like Andy Kaufman because Andy Kaufman is my hero.
Right.
And is the reason why I'm in the wrestling business.
We both always do little references that like are good for us, and who
Yes.
knows if anyone gets them. We don't really care.
Yes.
We both
See?
have done that as managers. We have little like
Sometimes you need
references
that.
here
You
and
need
there.
to have a little something for yourself, because if you're just doing everything that your situation's a little different, but like for WWE, the house shows, it's pretty much they're the same matches in the house shows because they don't want to interfere with the television storylines. So they just break it up a little bit, but you're doing the same thing on the house shows. Not so much for you guys,
No.
but still, there's got to be times where it's a little, grinding and grueling and monotonous. So throwing those little things in there just to make the other person laugh behind the scenes.
it's just for us. We had Portia
you need
did
to have that.
Portia when Handmaid's Tale was coming out, and I was like, well, I want to reference this. There was a whole interview Portia did where every other line was a line from the book, and I'm like, I don't care if anyone else gets it. It's fun for me.
And there was at our anniversary show in March, we actually had to make a change. So it was, instead of two heavyweights going at it, I decided as my character to find the 6 best athletes I can find outside the Holland Tunnel. And then it would be 6-on-1. It would be Paul Jourdain, the guy I managed, the 6'8" guy, against 6 different talents.
Against 6 tunnel bunnies.
Yes, and it was 6 wrestlers. There was Ludwig von Boston, the kicked out tap dancer. There was Suavemente Jones. There was a vampire named Question Mark. I just made up these names
Like
on the fly.
infomercial guy?
Yes, exactly. It was no, but it was like, we've got these guys, these enhancement talents who are great wrestlers in their own right, but they know, like, they're technicians. So like, they're mechanics. They fill a role and they come in and they fight for opportunity. So we were like, okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take the mic. I'm gonna ring introduce all of you. Just go in order. Whatever name I call you is your name tonight. And I just made it all up on the fly because I just wanted to see. Suavemente Jones was the only one I kept. Like that one I wanted to use because I just loved the name. And now he's my sidekick. Suavemente Jones is my sidekick on
I was
television.
going to ask you that too, because your character is also a lawyer.
Yes.
Right? Do you represent a law firm, or are you just known as a lawyer?
I'm just known as a lawyer.
You technically do, remember?
Well,
you've had commercials.
I had a commercial.
Matthew and Shapiro has had 2 commercials in the
Yes.
past.
Which were both written by Steph.
And
they're
directed
by Steph. They were very good. If you look up Matthew Ryan Shapiro commercial,
Right.
2KW on YouTube, they are
Edited by Harry Turjanian.
Yes, they're brilliant commercials. But like, my character's kind of changed over the years from, just a lawyer to.
So I'm saying it's a great name for your stable. If
Yeah.
you have multiple people that you're managing, you could be Matthew Shapiro and Associates.
Yeah,
your artwork looks like a legal firm.
A lot of that.
You can bring up, younger people within your firm to sort of be
Junior
award
partners.
for you.
That was like a lot of the stuff in the beginning, but as I kind of grew and developed as a character, it turned from just like a lawyer into just a really shitty human being with a lot of different parts to him. Like, when I started growing my hair and beard out, I looked less like a lawyer and more like a scumbag, so I kind of just embraced that.
Okay.
And it would be like we were my stable and capital
Both in wrestling and in life.
Yes, in life. Yes.
So you became is it like a shyster role, or you've moved away more from the legal and just to become this evil entity?
More of an
thing?
evil entity, like more of like the boss at the end of a video game.
Okay.
This like conniving, like uses the law, but it's not all just about being a lawyer. It's about being underhanded. It's about being sneaky, tricky, like overconfident. I crotch chop when I come out. I tell people, I borrowed this from my friends EYFBO who are on Impact now, but I would do a suck me. I would say suck me when I came out to the ring, and now people know me for that. And it's weird that you're known for a crotch chop, but it's one.
Worked for DX.
Yeah, it did. And the Young Bucks made a whole bunch of money off of it too. So why they have a
Have you
pop
tried
figure.
the devil horns and doing like a too sweet?
Oh, no,
thing?
I don't want to get
I don't
sued.
think that's been done.
No, Dio would sue me from the grave. But it's cool because I'm actually like, it allows me to like work on stuff and try to be more of a fully formed person.
Right.
Because when you give yourself a gimmick, you can really immediately just be the gimmick and not be an actual character with depth and understanding and finding ways to create like a rhythm and a cadence. Like on my merchandise table, I sell dignity. I sell dignity for $1. I sell alternative
How
facts.
is it packaged?
Well, dignity. Can't you see it?
Oh.
Don't you? It's that.
Gotcha.
It's exactly that. And people say, can we see dignity? We want dignity. You got to buy it first.
Very religious of you.
There's a lot.
That's a church tactic.
Yeah. Oh, it's all carny. Like my whole March table is like pins. It's alternative facts. During the holidays, I sell holiday hate cards. I cut promos for $5 a piece. I had someone give me $20 once to cut a promo at a merch table. I've had people pay me more than I was being paid that night for merch and for other stuff like T-shirts and other stuff that I sell.
Can I come on your show one time, maybe be like for a backstage promo kind of thing, where I can be one of your associates and I'll be like Sign Guy Shapiro? And I'll just hold a sign.
You've had a standing invite since the company started. Every time there's a show, I'll text you, hey,
I like
pal.
Sign Guy Shapiro.
If you want to be my...
Look, back in the day of the Dudley Boys,
Yes.
Sign Guy was one of my favorites.
He works for Cirque du Soleil
I know,
now.
I still talk to Lou.
Yeah, Lou, he's a good dude.
Lou, he's an amazing guy. But I always loved that gimmick. I'm like, he didn't have to do anything, but he would hold the sign with the motto of the moment or whatever was getting heat at the time. That's all he did.
Yes.
I think you need a Sign Guy Shapiro.
Hey, if you want to be Sign Guy Shapiro, come on down, have some fun.
I'll grow my beard out, and I got to find some glasses. And I was like, he looks oddly related to that guy.
It's not the worst idea I've ever heard.
No, but it's not the best either.
It's up there.
We can leave it on the table and work on it somewhere.
We'll put a pin in it and then come back to it later.
Steph, let me, as we're about to wrap up here, let me ask you about female talent coming in. Obviously, for the whole scheme of the show, there's a whole collective of people, you and your partner at the top there, where you're designing the show, doing all the layout. But do you have people that handle the female talent and handle the male talent, or does everybody work together in that kind of aspect?
Yeah, mostly everyone works together. Yeah. Portia manages a male tag team called Luxury Muscles Incorporated, which is Mick Drake and Stan Styles. And now,
I'm saying like from behind the scenes.
Oh no, it's all men, women. We're all working together. There's no real reason to kind of segregate because we're all working together and we're slowly implementing a women's division. Like
that was going to be my next thing with the climate being led by WWE right now, but with the climate of female empowerment within the sport and more women being pushed to the forefront, and obviously showing that merchandising power is there, the storylines are there, the performance is there.
Yeah,
back maybe even 10 years ago, not that long ago, the Divas were pretty much just pillow fights and evening gowns and slap fights, and there wasn't a whole lot of technique being used and skill. Now you don't see any shades of that when they're doing all these incredible moves, high flying moves, technical moves, what have you. Are you guys seeing more women trying to break into this business, like coming to your company and saying, I would like to do what you guys do? Do you train? Do you know where I can train? How do I become part of your business?
There's been a rising tide of female wrestling on the independent level for years. There's companies like Shimmer and Shine that are just female companies in Japan. Japanese women's wrestling at certain points was the best wrestling in the world. And Chigusa Nagayo, Minami Toyota, there were so many great women's wrestlers. And going back into the 1980s, it's always been there. But now in America, with a lot of what we've seen in the women's revolution and just women loving wrestling and being able to say, I want to do that.
Right.
You've seen it on the independent level. But a lot of the things, like whenever something hits nationally, like with a radio station, like let's say when why can't I say it? When in the 90s, when grunge took off, and you saw all these stations just kind of co-opt grunge and not do it correctly and kind of create these shitty formats, I'm very leery of that coming from a programming, broadcasting background. I'm like, I don't want to jump into the next hot thing just because it's the next hot thing.
Right.
You need to find a way to make it tangible and work for you. And using Portia as basically a symbiotic device, get her over, build the women's division, find women like Ariella Nix who get what we're doing, who can cultivate an identity, and who can play at the level of ball. Like, there's so many great women's wrestlers out there, and I know so many of them. But it's about finding, and this is for all talent, finding the right opportunity. It doesn't matter. We have members of our roster from all walks of life. We have Trump conservatives to members to the LGBT LGBTQIA community. We have trans members in our locker room. We have drag queens in our locker room. We have people, transgendered people, transvestites. We've got everything in our locker room because
probably one of the most diverse locker rooms in the tri-state area.
I would say I would say so. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but toot. But we have a great
Don't mess with my toot.
But we have a great crew of people, and we're building that up. And from the beginning, me and Marcus said we don't want to do women's wrestling as a gimmick. We don't want to do it as a thing that will be considered creepy or predatory or just kind of make it a sideshow act. We want to integrate it fully formed into our product.
How many females are in your company right now?
On camera, in terms of wrestling, we only have 2.
Okay.
But that is growing.
Is that including your character?
That's not including Portia. If we're just wrestlers, it's 2. But if we're including production staff or if we're including office staff, there's about 6 women who work for us and who are a consistent part of our team. And
there's someone in production. We've got 2 interviewers, one for social, one for television, and then the
Shannon,
talent.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what we try to do. We try to create an identity.
That was weird.
That was very weird.
You heard that, right?
Yeah, I heard that. I think it was the headphone jack or the power cord for the computer.
All right, continue.
Yeah, but we try to create a culture in Capital where anybody can fit in.
Okay.
And
if it makes sense.
Yeah, if it makes sense. That's what we try to do because I'm not gonna put someone on my product if I'm not giving them the best opportunity to succeed.
Before we get out of here, I want to talk about your placement within the wrestling community here, the wrestling industry. You built it from nothing. You've had respectable people from other aspects, more successful promotions helping you out, which is great. I know at one point you were talking with Eric Bischoff, which is huge, and he was advising you on some of your things, and he was even singing the praises of Capital Wrestling on social media, and I saw that, which is an amazing thing to get. Do you find that more people are willing to help out in the wrestling community now as far as other companies help other companies out? Because it's not like you're going to get WWE to come down and do offer any help or advice or anything. But when you get talented veterans from whatever company they worked at helping you out here, do you see that more as a communal thing nowadays compared to back in the day where it was you work in that territory, go after yourself, we're competing?
It is pro wrestling in its own way is a familial atmosphere. You're in the trenches together. It's its own fraternity. It's its own small brother and sisterhood of people. So I've seen a lot of love and a lot of respect from a whole bunch of people, like George Carroll Jr., who works for New Japan Pro Wrestling. He is a friend of mine. We worked with him a couple of years ago on a project, and he wants to come down. He wants to teach. He wants to produce. He wants to help out the roster because it's what he's done his entire life. And you get those kinds of people. You get announcers and producers of major companies who watch and critique our product, who know and learn and help us out. Like there's you could not do this company without the help of others. The other people you're listening to, WWE Hall of Famers, former wrestlers, former producers, people who understand the world of wrestling and tell us you're doing it right. You're doing these things right. You're getting all of the things you need done correctly. And it's great. Like I can honestly say it is we've been very welcomed in the wrestling community. Obviously there's people who don't like our product and people who don't like us, but that's going to happen. Like I'm not going to actively shit on somebody who doesn't like our product because art is subjective.
Right.
And I like the art I make. You may not like it, but there's somebody else out there who likes it. And it will I want someone, if someone doesn't like the whole show, that's fine. If you walk away from a show and you like one thing, if you like Sunny Kiss, or if you liked Ken Dixon, 2 completely different parts of the paradigm, or if you like the atmosphere, if you like the fact that you were on TV, if your kids had a good time.
You find something that you associate with.
Exactly.
That you enjoy.
You create an identity. I actually had a mother walk up to me during a show. This was the last show. And she's like, I didn't know this was here. This is great. And you build those relationships within the community. We have a great relationship with Hudson Pride, which is a pride-based organization run out of Jersey City. The Boys and Girls Club of Hudson County come to our shows. It's that creating that atmosphere of welcoming and entertain. Like we're we're sports entertainment. We're as much sports entertainment as we are independent professional wrestling. And that's kind of like the sweet spot of where we want to be, because we know that we're not going to beat Ring of Honor in being Ring of Honor.
Right.
We're not going to beat New Japan at being New Japan. We're not going to beat CZW at being CZW. We're going to be Capital Wrestling. We're going to be that weird little funky thing off to the side with storylines and over-the-top characters and wanting to put people's faces in cakes. Like, that's what we are. And that's what we're going to be. And we build relationships with vendors and partners. And I know this is boring to everybody listening, but it's like you create that atmosphere of making people want to work with you. If you work with people, if you listen to people, if you allow people to let themselves be themselves, you're going to be successful. Or you're going to create the opportunity for people to be successful. People have gotten jobs because of Capital Wrestling. People have gotten opportunities, looked at, grown in their careers because of it. And that makes me happy.
Within wrestling or with outside?
Within wrestling, with outside of wrestling, like production guys getting jobs, like our kid, like I call them my kids, but there are interns getting different opportunities, being able to use that, leverage that. People that literally came up to me and said, "Hey, I want to be in the wrestling business."
We brought in people that have nothing to do with the wrestling business because they have other skills they can bring to the table,
right?
And they can grow within those skills. We've brought in people like that.
Yeah, and like Harry and Steve never commentated up until a few years ago because I thought they can do it. And now they're probably my favorite commentary team.
But they
in
both have had their own skills, obviously, in broadcasting and in radio.
Right, and writing, too. I know Harry was doing improv and a bunch of other writings and stuff
with
like that.
Steph.
Yeah, he's been my writing partner for 11 years.
Right.
And he's been writing sketch way, way, way longer than that, but in short films and such. But yeah, but they bring different skills to the table, just like me or just like you. We have skills in different areas that we brought into this strange world of wrestling.
As you develop this, what's the, I don't want to say the end game for this, but what's maybe the 5-year plan? Like, what's in the future of you directing this company? Where are you looking to go with
National television.
National television?
We have cable already in Minnesota. We have monthly specials on Queens. It's all public access right now.
The model you're doing with TV is like the old terrestrials.
Yes.
Where so it's technically syndicating the show. So you record it and then you just send the product out to the TV stations. They air it where they can.
We cut the time. And I hate
hopefully to be in Hudson County, New Jersey soon.
We're working on that. And I hate to go back to the Opie and Anthony thing, but it is like it's a constant theme of my life. Syndication Underground.
Right.
That's in my head. I want my fucking program in front of as many eyes as humanly possible.
Right.
We're on Twitch. We're on so many different on-demand services, Roku and all that. We just signed. Lita has a show on this network called
Amy Dumas.
Yes, Amy Dumas has a show on Asai TV. It's a streaming platform. It's a VOD platform. We're on that. We're soon going to be on one of the bigger distribution platforms through another partner. We're on an iOS app right now, which we need to kind of build out and in terms of our content on there. But we're on Twitch. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook Live. I want to be able to produce weekly television on a network platform. And I've had, very tepid conversations with some channels about coming on, but this is what's probably what's going to be regarded as my life's work. And this is what I'm going to be remembered for after I die at 30 of a massive heart attack because of this. But I'm not stopping until, like, the Conan O'Brien documentary. That is something that
Conan can't stop.
Yeah, Conan can't stop. That's in my head all the time. That level of hustle, that opportunity. It's like I take so much from people from being in adverse situations or getting fucked over and being angry and spiteful and trying to turn that energy. Hi, buddy. And
I was just waving at that.
And turning it into positive energy, or turning it into my own brand, or turning it into my own idea.
Right.
You doing the show out of your studio here and turning it into your own thing. Like, that to me helps push me forward and want to do the shit I do. Because if I'm not going for what I want, if I'm not going out to create what I want to see in the world,
right,
or push myself to the point where this is the thing, I should not be doing anything. I should just take my regular-ass day job, sit there, tweet all day, go home, pet the dog, go to sleep. If I don't have this, if I don't have anything to get out of bed in the morning, like, I'm going to create something today. If I don't have a show in 6 weeks or 5 weeks, like, I have nothing to do. Like, right, I can do announcing gigs. I can do that. I'm good at that. but I've been able to create something. I've built the fucking house. And you keep building it and keep building it. You try to make the fixtures better. You try to create this identity. And that's where we stand right now. And I'm going to keep going.
Well, the way the climate is, it's never been a better time to try to get a second or third national brand to do something. Because, I mean, look, I know Impact TNA tried, but they were plagued with problems from the beginning with ownership and creative control and all that stuff. And that's always going to be looked at as their downfall, because it wasn't so much that what was in front of the camera was bad. It was more behind the scenes. They couldn't get their shit together.
Yeah.
And if whoever was running it was doing things the wrong way. Didn't have to be the WWE way, just as a business was not running the right way. So there's still that vacuum. You know, even though WWE is going to be the top dog for everything, there's still room for a second, a third, fourth brand in there, a national brand. That you're not just watching the Tonight Show all the time. You can watch Colbert, you can watch Jimmy Kimmel, you can watch Conan. There's other programs that are available to your liking. There's never been a better time because there's nothing there.
If we can be the last week tonight of pro wrestling, that makes me happy.
Once a week and then complain about the administration?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. And then you got to put out your own fun children's book.
Exactly, yes.
Well, I look forward to that.
Thank you,
Matt
buddy.
Shapiro, the Happy Little Lamb, or something like that, you know? Well, we've been talking with Matt and Stephanie, the people behind Capital Wrestling, and I'm going to check out the full shows now, because if she's kicking your ass on a semi-regular basis, that's something I need to invest my time in. I finished Cobra Kai. I can go right now and watch this. And I'm glad everything's working out for you. And look, you just hit your year anniversary, you said, right? You've been talking about wanting to do wrestling for as long as I've known you, and it wasn't just a wrestling fanboy kind of discussion. Like, you were really... I remember... was it you that was talking with Steve Austin in the office?
Yeah.
Until Sam came over and said, shut up, we'll leave him alone, or something like that. I left because I took your photos, and I was just watching you nerd out to Stone Cold, and he was very nice. He was answering your questions and everything, because you went deep on one thing, and Sam's like, all right, enough, just leave him alone.
It was because it was the worst match I ever saw, and I knew he hated that match, and I wanted to just kind of figure that out, because it was the Great American Bash 1991, the scaffold match. People know what that is.
Okay, but you've
Very
been talking.
few people know what that is.
You've been talking
Just
about
in your
this forever. I'm
encyclopedia.
glad to see what you guys have built here and what you've developed, and I'm now really keen to seeing Portia Vaughn, her deviousness, and laying the smackdown on Matthew Shapiro.
Yeah, come check us out. Follow us on Twitter at Capital Wrestling without the G. Leave off the last G for goodness. We're on Instagram at Capital Wrestling, Facebook Capital Wrestling. New episodes of television stream live on Twitch and Facebook Live every Monday night at 7:05 Eastern. We live on Turner time at the Capitol.
Do your personalities have their own social media accounts?
Yes, they do.
We do. At the Portia Vaughn.
The Portia Vaughn.
Mm-hmm.
At M. Ryan Shapiro.
There you go. So follow the characters, follow Capital Wrestling.
And follow Steph. I don't use regular Twitter anymore.
Okay.
But Steph's on regular Twitter, and she's very funny.
Steph Sottile.
One other thing, too, with you guys on Twitch, what people may not know is within this year, Amazon's been, bought out and invested in Twitch.
Yes.
And they've been giving it a big push as far as the Amazon Prime app.
Yes.
So if you have Amazon Prime and you only have it for, say, the free shipping for your purchases, it also gives you their television portal.
Yes.
So you can go into there. If you have one of those smart TVs or a Roku that has Amazon, you can go to the main page. There's a Twitch feature there. So if you're not watching it on your phone, you can watch it right on your television through Amazon Prime.
Yeah, it's really awesome. You can do that. We have Patreon. Patreon.com/Capital Wrestling gets you instant downloads to all the episodes. It gives you, merch. We're on Pro Wrestling Tees. We're on What a Maneuver.
I wear your Capital Wrestling shirt that you gave me.
Yeah.
Because it's an old school baseball ringer tee. I wear it all the time.
It's a lovely shirt. It's an awesome shirt.
It used to be white, but it's so dirty now.
I have other ones. I can get you a new one.
No. Okay. Send me a bunch of them. I'll wear them every day. I never say no to a free t-shirt. So if you want to send them over, I'll gladly wear them. But Matthew and Stephanie, thank you so much for coming in to do this. We've been talking for a while about wanting to talk to both of you and break down Capital Wrestling, get a feel for it. It's not even fair to say it's an up and coming. You've been established for a year now, and your production quality is far beyond an up and coming. But you still have a way to go
Yeah.
with the
Oh,
direction of
definitely
where you want this thing,
Yeah.
what you want it to be. And there's never been a better time to get onto it now to see where it is. You can learn from where it was to where it is now and be on it now to where it's going.
Yes, exactly.
Follow the journey of this thing. So I will talk to you guys again soon.
Yes.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, buddy.
Appreciate it, and thank you, lady.
It's Erik Nagel. And that's all the time we have. Follow the show at It's Erik Nagel on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Unless we